Will Fionna lose her arm? I think she will, for numerous reasons. She is an alternate version of Finn after all. And we know that it was destiny for Finn to lose his arm. In Season 2, Episode 24, Finn and Jake are meditating with Princess Bubblegum, and Finn envisions himself in the future, and this future version of him has a robotic arm. We then see Farm World Finn in Season 5, Episode 1, and he has a robotic arm. But the original Finn is then restored, and he still has 2 arms. Then, in Season 5, Episode 16, Finn goes into the Pillow World. In the Pillow World, he grows up and eventually loses his arm and gains a robot pillow arm. Later, in Season 5, Episode 26, Finn and Jake get stuck in the dungeon train. And the future crystal shows a future where Finn and Jake grow old in the train, and in this future, Finn is missing his arm and has some sort of prosthetic. Eventually, Finn does lose his arm, but then his arm grows back. But then he loses his arm again, this time permanently, and gains his robot arm. It seems that Finn losing his arm and gaining a robot arm was inevitable, as multiple visions of the future showed him with a robot arm, and he had a robot arm in multiple other realities. And, in a past life, Finn was Shoko, who also lost an arm and got a robotic replacement. But not every version of Finn loses his arm. The Finn from the Beyond the Grotto universe hasn't lost his arm, Finn from the Baby universe never lost his arm, and Fern never lost his arm either. If Fionna was just another version of Finn from a normal alternate universe, then you could say that she may never lose her arm. However, Fionna is not just from some other universe. Her universe is meant to be a gender-bent version of the original Adventure Time universe. Fionna is meant to be a gender-bent version of the original Finn specifically. And we know that the original Finn specifically was always meant to lose his arm. Now, Prismo allegedly made Fionna and Cake's universe. And since he is no longer writing the stories of their universe, you could say that there is no reason for Fionna to be destined to lose her arm. However, even when Prismo was cut off from Fionna World, key events that happened in the original universe still occurred. A key event in the original universe was Bubblegum and Marceline getting together, which happened in Fionna World with Gary and Marshall Lee, and this happened long after Prismo was cut off. Another huge canon event in the original universe was Finn getting with Flame Princess, and Flame Princess then breaking up with him. In the intro of Fionna and Cake Episode 1, we see Fionna and DJ Flame are together, but then DJ Flame breaks up with her, mirroring the original universe, even though Prismo is no longer in control. If these events from the original universe happened in Fionna World, even though Prismo was no longer in control, and even though the world lost its magic, then there must be canon events programmed into the very fabric of the universe. One of these events will likely be Fionna losing her arm, as that is one of the core events that happened to Finn in the original universe. And there is some solid evidence that Fionna will indeed lose her arm. In the very first episode, Fionna has a weird dream that seems to mostly be influenced by suppressed memories of the past magical world. However, Fionna also dreams of the Winter King, who she has not met yet at this point, and the Winter King was certainly never in her universe in the past when it used to be magical. Even though the Winter King in Fiona's dream looks a bit different to the actual Winter King, we know it is definitely him because Fionna herself says so.
This is going to sound nuts, but I think I've been dreaming about you.
Since Fiona's dream with the Winter King turned out to be a dream that foretold the future, other dreams of hers could also foretell the future. Now, at the end of every episode, in the end credits, we see a little scene where Fionna and Cake are dreaming, and we see their dreams. 8 out of 10 episodes have the end credit dreams show events that happened in their episodes. Some of the things in these end credit dreams are things that Fionna and Cake experienced. For example, in episode 8, they go to the Lich world and then they dream of the Lich. However, there are a few end credit scenes that show things only Simon experienced in that episode, like how, in episode 9, Simon goes to the future and Turtle Princess's body is there. Then Fionna and Cake dream of Turtle Princess in the end credits. Anyway, while 8 out of 10 episodes have the end credit dreams show events that happened in their respective episodes, there are 2 end credit dreams that have things in them that hadn't happened yet. In episode 4, Fionna and Cake dream this, which is clearly supposed to be Baby World. However, Baby World doesn't happen until episode 6. Then, in episode 5, this is the end credit dream. We see a bunny with a sword for an arm. The bunny in this dream is clearly meant to represent Fionna, as Fionna wears a bunny hat. This is 100% definitely foreshadowing Fionna losing her arm. Obviously, Fionna is not literally a bunny, but some of the other end credit dreams have also been abstract, like this one which shows Turtle Princess as a literal turtle with a wig. And not to mention that Fiona's dream with the Winter King had him look a bit different to how he actually looks. So, this dream must mean that Fionna will lose her arm and gain a robot one. And guess what? This end credit scene is in the episode that is literally called Destiny. So it must be Fiona's destiny to lose her arm. In conclusion, it has clearly always been Finn's destiny to lose his arm, as it was heavily foreshadowed through visions of the future and alternate lives. And because Fionna is supposed to be a gender-bent version of the original Finn specifically, it would make sense for her to lose her arm. Sure, Prismo is no longer in control of Fionna World, but 3 canon events from the original universe already happened in Fionna World while Prismo was cut off. Certain core events must be programmed into the fabric of the universe, and Fionna losing her arm could be one of these events. Additionally, Fionna had that dream that predicted the Winter King, and that end credits dream that predicted Baby World. This indicates that her dreams can foretell the future. And then in the end credits of episode 5, we see Fionna having this dream of a bunny with a sword for an arm. This dream is clearly foretelling that Fionna will lose her arm. I've also got other Fionna and Cake theory videos on my channel, including one about what I think will happen to Fionna World, and one about what I think happened to Betty. I've got a bunch more planned, so stay tuned. My next Fionna and Cake video will probably be about how I think Prismo didn't actually create Fionna World, and I also want to make videos about 1000+ and who Prismo's boss might be, even though I know other people have already made videos about those topics. Anyway, feel free to like and subscribe.